Yeah, you guys obviously made quite a few threes tonight. Is that something you saw that you'd be able to do against Troy? Is it something that just kind of came beyond the court, or how'd that come to be?
Well, the way we've been shooting in practice, you can tell that we would have a good 3 point game tonight. We saw that Troy was pretty much sagging off of us. So, we didn't try to force anything inside and, just try to play our game, not force anything.
Up next, we'll go to Robbie Falk.
Hey, Rakia, during the week, Nikki had mentioned that y'all worked on rebounding, defense, things of that nature after y'all's lost to South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like y'all did tonight, kind of trying to work back and do things better in that regard?
Mm-hmm. I feel like we did pretty well. Of course, we could do better. This team still got 20 offensive boards, but I feel like in the second half especially, we pretty much contained them on the boards, and if we would have did that in the first half, they wouldn't have got as many as they've gotten, but I feel like we're working towards like getting better at the rebounding aspect.
Up next, let's go to Ben Portnoy.
Ricky, I think tonight we saw Sid get over 26 points. I'm just curious, like in terms of what she does for this offense, how does she kind of open things up for you guys? And what does it kind of do when she's knocking down shots, kind of the way she did tonight?
It definitely just opens up everything, and we just have all the confidence in the world with Sid when it comes to 3-pointers and plays making and stuff. So it just definitely opened up the floor, because if that person's coming out on her, that's a whole gap right there. So it definitely helps us a lot on the offensive end.
Up next, let's go to John Suckloff. Oh, just kidding.
Just quick follow-up. I know. Obviously, last year I know you struggled your first couple of games and then kind of clicked. Did kind of the same thing tonight. Had maybe a couple of rough outings and then got to go on tonight. Is that something that you guys related to at all, if at all, or I guess how did you kind of relate to it, if at all? When you were going through that as well.
Say like related to this game.
In terms of your first couple of games at State, I know it was just a little bit of a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Sid kind of had the same thing this year and sort of knocked that rust off.
Mm-hmm.
How much, if at all, do you see any kind of parallels?
You can say that. It was just our first couple of games, and people just always got to knock the rust off and get going. And when you see that first shot fall in, then you're like, okay, I got it going. So it takes a while. Some people quicker than others. So yeah.
All right, now we'll go to John Sokoloff.
Okay, how can you? Is it kind of hard to assess what y'all do well in a blowout win like this? I mean, obviously you guys were shooting the lights out of the ball, but is it kind of hard to go back and look at the film and really dissect something like this when you beat an opponent by this margin?
I wouldn't say it's hard, because there were many things that we still did wrong, and Coach Nikki especially gave us the blueprint of the scout, and Coach Keith. So there were things that we did wrong, like offensive rebounding. They told us that this team would be running to the boards, and we still gave up 20 offensive boards. So I don't think it would be that hard to dissect it, honestly.
Sid, you came out and looked really confident on those first few possessions. I think you had 8 of the first 10. Big night tonight, career high. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm super happy. I mean, for the team, for myself, I think I had a really good day in practice yesterday with just focusing on my shot and really focusing on my form, seeing the ball go through it every time and what to do to make that ball go through the hoop. So it just transferred over to the court today.
Up next, we'll go to Ben Portnoy.
Sid, kind of to that, I mean, for you in terms of this process and transferring and sitting out last year and now actually getting back onto the court, what does a night like tonight kind of feel like in terms of the last, year and a half, 2 years, and kind of everything that you've dealt with since then?
It's good to be back. It's good to gain that confidence and know that, just because my journey was a little bit different, that I can make it happen here. I'm just really blessed to be here and have this opportunity to be healthy and playing. So I'm just grateful for that right now.
All right, guys, we still have time for a few more questions for Sid. If you have any questions, put your name in the chat. We'll go back to Ben.
I guess kind of to that, in terms of that, just knocking off the rust the first couple of games, how much of it do you feel like it was just a matter of kind of seeing a couple of shots fall?
I think the last game was an eye-opener, especially as a senior. It made me really take into accountability of what I need to do better and what my role is on the team, but also giving to my teammates. So I think also sitting out in the last year, kind of learning the program and just my teammates helps me kind of get in that leader position. So, yeah.
Up next, we'll go to Tyler Horka.
kind of going off of what Ben was asking, but spinning it forward, how big is a game like this for you to, like you said, see the ball go through and get your form down? Do you think this is something you can replicate going forward and continue this with some consistency?
Absolutely. I think, honestly, I could do it even better. Like, the ball went through the hoop, but I have to elevate on the defensive end and rebounding. So I know that's going to be my focus because I feel like a lot of people know that offensively I can bring it, but I want to elevate in other areas. So,
Well, first of all, it felt really good to be back at home. 9-day layoff. You just never know, how the team is going to come out and respond. But I thought this team, had a great shoot around. They had a fire underneath their belly. We talked about being ready to go from the jump because we didn't play the way we needed to play in our last game and left a sour taste in our mouth when it came to our rebounding, our free throws, and our turnovers. So when I look at the stats tonight, one thing that really stands out, 29 assists on 44 made shots. We shot the ball extremely well. We had 41 rebounds, but we shot it well, so we didn't miss a whole lot of shots. Areas that we got to continue to get better at is our free throws, 3 for 10. We know we're not going to win many basketball games shooting it like that, and we really concentrated a lot on our free throws. And then we gave up 20 offensive rebounds. Last year, this team gave up 27. We only gave up 8 in the second half, but they shoot the ball a lot. So it's running rebounds that we have to continue to get under control. You got to rebound. And then transition defense. I thought because we had different combinations playing, transition defense got away from us. And they scored 27 points off fast break points. Can't let that happen. But overall, a good bounce back game. But we know that we still have room to grow, and we will continue to get better.
Up first, we'll go to Robbie Falk.
Coach, from a rebounding perspective and also defensively, do you think that's just attributed to, the short time that you've had with the players and just getting your system implemented? Or what do you see as the problem in the last few games?
Rebounding is effort. I think when, against South Florida, they're a team that screened a lot, so we had to help and we had to find our man. So when you're rebounding out of a help position and you got 2 on the ball and then there's someone open, you're confused. Here they ran ball screen defense and we were helping and then we got to get back to our man. So that's been a big emphasis. It's just second effort. We got to go get balls and we got to know when we switch off who we're rebounding. So for us, it's just going to get the basketball. It's not a skill thing. It's a I'm going to get this rebound. So much better, but we got to be better.
Up next, we'll go to Ben.
Question. When I'm looking at these numbers from Maya Taylor, she's got 22 assists and 1 turnover. Can you put that in perspective of how hard that is? I know she's not going to bring the ball down the floor in your offense every single possession, but 22 to 1 is a pretty big stat, it seems like.
I think Maya is the consummate leader. She's leading by example. She's leading off the floor because she has relationships with she's taking pride in. I get on her a lot when she's turning the ball over, but she's a student of the game and she wants her teammates to do well. She's got to take her shots when she's open. I think now people have to guard her because she's not afraid to shoot the ball. But when she sees other people getting off, she's going to get them the ball. And I thought she did a good job of that. No one hit her ball, so there was no rotation that was messed up in delivering the strikes to her shooters. So just very fortunate and blessed to have a player like that plays hard every single possession and really, really care about our culture, about our teammates, and just everything that we're doing. She wants to win, and it's very evident.
Up next, we'll go to Ben.
Nikki, I know you're probably not expecting to get 26 out of Sid every night, but when you do, when she's hitting shots like she did tonight, what does that do for this offense? And how much does that change maybe, kind of the ceiling for what you guys are able to do offensively?
Well, I think, again, she had a great shoot around. She did second guess herself a couple times, and I'm like, what are you doing? Because when you're on, you're on. But, for her, she has to be ready to shoot open shots. She's probably one player that can consistently make contested threes because she's got a pretty shot, pretty release, and when she's in rhythm, I'm pretty confident that it's going to go in, and our team is pretty confident. It puts us in a position to rebound. I just don't want her second-guessing herself. I want her to continue to take good shots all the time, and when we missed a couple, then let's get the ball inside to Jess or Yamaya and do something different. But tonight was her night, And I'm glad we were able to feed her. And, she was hitting shots.
Kind of to that, I mean, what was kind of her process in terms of getting her ready for this season? I know she hadn't played in almost 2 years at that point. I mean, what was kind of the tune-up? How do you kind of get her ready to go back on the floor and be in regular games, with that much time off?
Well, I think, one of the things that I told Sid was, you have been off, so you're going to feel a sense of pressure to want to do well. But you have to have a great off season. COVID hit, and she had some things going on from a family standpoint. I don't think she had the off season that she wanted. But I think it doesn't matter, how you start is how you finish. So now is the time where she can continue to get in rhythm, stay healthy, and just do the things that I'm asking her. For her, it is being vocal with her voice, making sure that people hear her. She's another defender, another coach on the floor. Her and Maya have to quarterback what we're doing because they have a presence in our locker room. They have a presence on our campus. So she has to be vocal, and she has to have a great understanding of what we're doing. And she has a very calming presence as well, with people. So I think that's good when you have players in your locker room that people listen to. So we always have to be on the same page. But I think for her, just getting confidence every day, getting confidence is going to be good for her.
Up next, we'll go to Joel Coleman.
Nikki had, of course, 5 players make threes tonight. 7 different players took threes. We've heard you mention several times about when players get open shots, you want them taking those shots. Are you at a point where you're pretty confident with your team as far as pretty much anyone taking those shots? And I guess how receptive is there still some work to do in building that boldness to take every open shot?
Well, I think there's certain people on our team that they know that that's a strength of theirs. I think there's people on our team, if they don't take those shots, then people are going to sag off them, so they're going to disrespect them. At the end of the day, it's a good shot as long as it's in rhythm. Make or miss, because now we're in a position to rebound it. But then you got to self-check yourself like, wow, I'm missing. I got to either get in the gym and fix it, or I got to do something different. That doesn't mean you have to take the shot, but that means you can do something different. I play with players. I've had a player that have played for me that was not a three-point shooter, and people disrespected her, but she still was able to score and get to the paint. So if you're open for a reason. Doesn't mean you have to take it, but you have to shoot it with confidence. And I want every player on our team to shoot the ball with confidence. What I said to them at halftime is when we miss 1, 2, or 3 in a row, then we got to do something different.
Up next, we'll go to Tyler Orca.
In your opening statement, you mentioned some of the things that you'd like to see your team improve upon. But when you win by whatever it was, over 30 points, and these players are, most of them, all pretty young, how hard is it to kind of coach them to improve upon those things when they look up and they see the scoreboard and say, oh, yeah, we won by a wide margin, we're doing all right?
That's what coaching is. That's our job. Our job is to not get too high and too low. We have to understand what we have to get better at. And I talked about some of the positives that we did, but I also talked about what we really wanted to do this game, and we didn't check that off consistently. So we'll get back to it on next week. Tomorrow we'll get back to it to where we got to focus on that because we got the SEC coming up. We got 2 games coming up before Christmas break. So we got to continue to get better, and that's the beauty about another day. You have another day to get better, but we have to decide that we're going to rebound. We have to decide that we're going to get back in transition defense. All of those things, it becomes a decision. So we got to decide that we're going to be better at those things.